Hello and welcome to this video where we're going to talk about particular about the content and a kind of methodology that we use to analyze in a scientific way the content that we call the content analysis. If we remember, when we talk about the different phases of the different steps that Laswell in this paradigm explain, there is something regarding the content. The content is what we call the message. If we say in the paradigm who says what, in which channels, to whom, and with what effect, the content is what we understand as the message. And the methodology applied to analyze it is the content analysis. We have to understand what is the content in this structure of the communication system. The content is the message. However, when we talk about the press, the content is explained as we call as the news. There are different techniques regarding this, the content, and we're going to talk about content analysis. As we say, the news are the core of this informative function of the communication. If you remember the news, the structure of the news as newspapers come from the region from the Rome period. However, we were going to see that the structure of the news as a piece of content, it was originated in the 19th century. So in today's society, the media provide information, and this information can reflect several routines, convention, and new knowledge. What is the definition of news? News are institutionally produced social representation of reality, as Rodrigo Alsina coined. There are certain elements. We have to understand that news are shape different media institutions, different media policies, and their environment. And we have to make a distinction between news and event. Not all events generate news, and news is a constructed of the reality. So when we talk about news, we have to think in the input-output model. There's an event, and then there's the creation of news. And as we say, there's the input-output model when the event produces news. So what is the structure of the news? If we read a newspaper, even if it's in an analogical format like paper or digital, we are going to face that this structure is very common. It's the most common news representation, and we are going to have to deal with when we talk about content analysis. Is the inverted pyramid, where if we see the most important info is at the beginning, is where's the lead. Here we are going to find the main answers to the question of Laswell: who, what, where, when, why, and how. More or less 30 words, one paragraph, and include the hook. The hook is like the provocative, or at least quote, or let's say phrase that can engage the reader to read more. This is, for example, very common in blog posts, for example. The body. Here we're going to see the crucial info, the argument, some story, the evidence, all the details, the logic. If they appear photos, videos, audio, everything that is included to span the topic. And then we find the extra info that can be related items, for example, other kind of extra content. In blogs, columns, or whatever, we can find the different hyperlinks. So this structure is changed a little bit in the digital platforms. However, always, even if it's any post or in a social media, we're going to find that there's the most important info always at the beginning. This inverted pyramid was developed during the Succession War in the 19th century at the beginning. Here, the telegraph changed how the news was reported. At the beginning, the news was reported chronologically. However, the telegraph forced a change that make the most important information at the beginning. So, why this happened? to ensure that key information is communicated quickly and helps always the reader to grasp the news at a glance. So we have to take this into account when we face a content analysis. I'm going to explain this methodological approach. The definition of the content analysis is that it's a research technique introduced by Bertelson in the 50s that is objective, systematic, and quantitative, and is used to study any kind of communication content, even if it's a newspaper, even if it's a data set of tweets, whatever. It's a method to analyze media content in a quantitative but also in a qualitative way. So the three main uses are: you can discover trends and patterns because we can track how this content is changing in the media over time. We can analyze media influence, so study effects of individual and society, and identify intentions. And this is very important when we, for example, in the activity we're going to do in this course, we can find some kind of editorial line, some kind of patterns regarding how to deal with information, strategic insights in information, and so on. So what is the objective of this exercise? We have to compare several news items from different media and conduct research on a specific topic. Here, content analysis will help us to convert text into an objective and measurable data, to perform a quantitative and also a qualitative treatment of them. So what are the steps? The first steps is determine the object or subject of analysis. So introduce the main topic. Imagine we're going to study how was covered the topic. In this case, the example is the state of alarm during the COVID-19, in this case in Spain. This is our topic, and imagine we're going to do an historical analysis in the media. Then we establish some coding rules on variables. These are the aspects of the content that we're going to analyze. So this is the key question. Which part of the information we are going to focus on? Not all the information we need to cover, but we have to select one. So in this case, we're going to establish some variables. If the state of alarm was necessary, or if only was citizen control. What is the position of the media regarding this? Then we have to establish a category, define how the content will be classified. In this case, we establish this vision, this kind of particular analysis over this little topic. Then define the unit of measure, specify how the analysis will be conducted, and a clear evaluation scale. This is very important, and this is the main part. How we are going to define my value, how we're going to define this unit of measure. This is a scale. So imagine we're going to say 1, 2, and 3 and establish a scale. 1 if it's neutral or they have no position. Imagine there is no position in the content. There's a subtle position if there are something that is not clearly said, but we can perceive it, and a clear position that the media has a clear message for and against something. We can establish a scale for everything. Imagine in the exercise we provide, you're going to find that we have a scale for different items. For example, the agents involved. If they're one, if they are expressed, if they don't name particular agents. 2, if there are some agents included, and 3, the same. So here, for example, you have the definition of this scale. And imagine that then you have to make the data analysis. So imagine that you choose 2 papers. This is a very, very simple example. In the checklist we provide as a complementary tool, you have a more elaborated content analysis regarding, for example, a conflict and the treatment regarding in the news. But imagine that you choose these variables and you have to select and always give the punctuation you establish in your scale. Imagine that you do this with 15 or with 20 articles. Then you'll have in different media. Then you'll have a complete analysis about a topic in different media. So we have the same subject and different views. So, for example, in this exercise, we see different editorial lines. For example, in this case, El País cover aligns with some of the government narratives, and El Mundo tends to some perspectives regarding the opposition of the government. So, to sum up, the content analysis is a systematic and objective structured approach. We can find some kind of unbiased analysis. Unbiased is always impossible because we are going to define this scale, but we can do it in a more objective way. We can reveal trends, patterns, editorial lines, and always enhance a critical thinking regarding the topic. Imagine that you choose 20 different media, so you are going to discover or at least unveil different, let's say, editorial lines or position of the media. Thank you.